Hello everybody, it's TechStack here.
Hey everyone.
With Fiery. So, let's see, where were we last night? We had the factory going. In the factory, you know, the arm, it was moving around kind of on its own, like it had a seizure or something. Now we've got it set up. Not too much different actually. I started working on something and it wasn't working out. So it's just not moving right at the moment, but that's due to a bug more than anything. I think what I want to do though is set this up more from the server side of things and not the graphical side of things. Like I want to get it actually working. Hey, Enter. What you talking about? That's cool. The splash screen that I had? Anyway, I want to make it so like these things actually do work. Okay, cool. It did work then. And I think we can come back with the animations after that. So the important part will be setting up the work. See, like right there, it's kind of flicking its little wrist thing. That's kind of like, it's half working. I can get it working the rest of the way. But I think more importantly, we need to make it so that it actually welds the block that we want it to weld. So it needs to be placed there. We need to give it, we need to set up that assembly block. So there's lots of work to do here, I think is what I'm trying to say. And focusing on an animating moving part is probably not the most important thing. So let's go back to the, where is it? Assembly table. And see if it's referenced anywhere in the code. Call hierarchy. So it is referenced there, huh? We are registering it, but we're not registering the item for it. That's what's up. Okay. That's simple enough. There we go. So now if we restart the game, it should go. Oh no, it's an emergency. I didn't bring my water down here. Well, while this is loading, let me go get my water. Found a cookie too while I was up there.
Say what?
Found a cookie.
You found a cookie?
Uh-huh.
Well, if you ain't special.
I feel special. It's the last one. Last of the last of gingerbread cookies that I'm dying on.
Maybe you should have got milk instead of water then.
Is there something wrong with you?
What?
Milk.
Milk with cookies, man. Come on.
Yep, that's the ugly assembly block. I remember. Fresh from the oven. Oh. Yeah, these were old. Obviously, we need to fix that texture on that block. I got something on my keyboard. I wonder if it's from eating cookies. Oh boy. Apparently the stream is not going to go well today. My son is asking me if I can help him with something now. So I guess I'll be back in a minute. Here, let me give you... Boom. And we'll do this. And we'll crank up the music, guys. And I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I'm back. Get the music back down to the right kind of level. Okay, Andrew. Okay, here we are. So our hideous texture, we need to fix that. I hate it so much I'm tempted to do it just right now. Hey, Eagle. Hey, Enderman. Anybody else I miss? Fiery. Hi, Fiery. Fiery, you're mute, by the way.
I know, I was talking to my daughter.
Okay. So, under textures for blocks. And it'd be machine assembly table. Kind of don't know what it should look like though. Image size, let's go 16 by 16 because that makes it more like Minecrafty. There we go. Get the brush tool, we'll pick up that color, we'll do a G, all these colors. Let's set up our tolerance really high, boom. Okay. Grab that color. We'll go on the lighter side of things, so like that direction. Get this side, and then we'll grab that color again and pick a darker color for this and this. Save. F3T, just to get a different texture that's not like 256 or 64, whatever that texture was. Oh, F3T. Load. That's kind of cool. Good enough for right now. We'll figure out something better later on.
You just didn't want to see the checkerboard.
I just didn't want to see the ugly board, what it was, because it had lines that, like, the block's the same on all of them, and you know they went to here, and then there was like lines going across at that top third, which just looks stupid on the top of the block. So there we go. We've got something that looks, I won't say better, but different. Okay, so that needs to be a tile entity as well. Yes? No? I think so. So what do we need to do to make that a tile entity? All sorts of stuff it looks like. So let's get the factory. Extends block container, which I believe is what a tile entity is. Extends block container instead of machine mod. Yes, we're going to terminate because we're going to break this code all to pieces. Okay, so we got a lot of errors because we're not extending everything we need to extend. We have unimplemented methods. Come on, Eclipse, work with me here. The unimplemented is that one. Okay, so let's get the factory block again. And I'm having serious doubts about naming this factory, by the way. Probably needs to be robot arm again. There's Talony Factory. Talony Factory, but we'll name that something different in a minute.
Assembly arm?
Assembly arm. Right,
you
right.
Said you don't want.
Yeah.
You said you don't want to name it factory again. Well,
right.
Name it assembly arm.
It does make sense. Brain work, please, Talonity. Let's copy this.
You know, honestly, you've accomplished so much with that one bug squash the other day. You could probably call it a week. You know. Like,
Yeah.
how many people have begged and pleaded for that bug to get squashed?
At least you. And me. And pretty much anyone that's played the mod, so.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just about anybody who's ever seen it. I bet that Russian YouTuber probably did at least 3 times.
Oh, I'm sure he wanted it fixed, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that I was really, really hoping you could get fixed before it went public again. Because it was just so annoying.
Right. Agree, 100%. Like, beyond 100%. It got fixed because I felt bad that it was in the mod at all.
I mean, I could have. I mean, even with like a small server like yours, you know, it was annoying. But I could only imagine for like a large server that would be running it with like 100 or so people, all trying to see this thing and having to log out and in all the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say right now that I doubt that the mod will run well on a 100-person server, because I doubt any Forge server runs with 100 people without issues. And also, like, it's... I want to say this. It's not really made for it. That makes sense. I don't know. I just think it'll be a lot of network traffic, so you'd have to have a huge connection to the internet for it to work right. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess. Mod block. And I could just be naive about how other mods do things versus how I do things. They probably all need a bunch of network stuff too.
I wouldn't doubt it. Hey, I'll be right back. I gotta go eat dinner real quick.
Okay. Right, so we can't do assembly table for that. Just block, I guess. Because it's now a tile entity. That works. We'll go to the client proxy and see if there's anything in client proxy we need to do as far as registering the tile entity. That's just for special renders. I think we're still okay. Let's try running it, see if we can get the block in the world. Oh, and earlier I fixed the bug where it was saying that it wasn't mapped correctly. It was that line over here that we just put in for this new one. So down at the bottom. This one. So I had to add that line so that it knows that that block is tied to that tile entity. I've also off camera, either today or yesterday or sometime, made a little bit more progress on the blueprint system itself. Like, it doesn't crash now, and made it pretty flexible where I can quickly add ingredients to the recipe, just with like one line of code. So that's pretty cool. Oh, I'm sure Fiery's watching us. Fiery's always watching. Okay, there it is. I got the wrong render type. But that's okay. So there's not set here. Interesting. Machine mod. Setting it in this? No, we're not. We need those probably. Because we took it out of the other class. Yeah, restart. Oh, and I slightly adjusted the color in this. Make it a little bit more orange. Pumped it up a bit. Come on. Uh-oh, is my internet messing up? We had a little bit of lag there for a second. Okay, so that's related to the render. Didn't think you had to specify a tile entity special render when it's not a special render. Let's go factory, and there's going to be this for 3 for normal blocks. Okay. So let's look at this render type. 1, 2, 3. That's not model. Model is what we want. There we go. Okay. That's showing up a valid model too. Shumping is not happy. Is it machine assembly table? Nope. Tile entity, proxy, mod blocks. Mod blocks, mod blocks, mod blocks. Okay. You haven't missed much. Just trying to get things going here with this assembly table. That's all. Chair's not cooperating today. It's not comfortable. Oh, wasn't it? Wait a minute. Did I just screw up the factory block? I did. Entity block animated. Got the wrong one changed. Model. There we go. Cool. Okay, so we got that looking right, rendering right. It's got a tile entity tied to it. That tile entity needs to do things. It needs to accept work. So it needs to consume work. So we need a work interface that we're going to apply this. I work consumer, if you will. Let's see where we can do this. Sure, right here. So we're gonna add a new class. I work consumer. And we're going to say it's going to be an abstract class, which means that it's not something that you actually can instantiate. It's just kind of like a blueprint that other classes can implement, and then it must have those functions that you define on here. So a public int work public. I'm trying to figure out how to word this so that it makes sense. So it's going to accept work. I guess we just need a public void that accepts the work. Public void or apply work. There we go. Could you make it where the conveyor belt grabs an item out of the box and puts it onto the table? I don't have anything that pulls from an inventory out into the world. You could use a dispenser for it, right? With the hopper. Spit them out that way. But right now this block doesn't even accept items into its inventory. It's a good question. How are we going to handle the inventory, right? So if I were to do paint real quick. Wait. Let's do it this way. Okay. Go enjoy your cookies, man. So if this is the setup in the world, You know, this thing needs to get the work, right, from these blocks. How does it get the inventory? Which is basically what you're saying, right? Do we add yet another block to this inventory, to this setup? I don't really want to do that. Like, I wouldn't mind it pulling from a vanilla inventory, like a chest or whatever. That's easy enough to do. To figure out that's a normal inventory, I can pull from it. Here's all the slots I have access to. Give me, please. What's that do to us, though? Those models are wrong, by the way. I realized that. So that is facing... Oops. Facing east. Is the way I placed it. Yep, facing east. So that arm should be coming out that side. I need to fix that. Because when you face this way, it should point towards you, not away. No, and it's a good thought. It's something I needed to think through as I do this, because it's going to have a big impact on it. If it's like you're saying, and it's getting things from a conveyor, you know, just vanilla, if you go like this and throw things at it, everything's going to get shoved up against it and just sit there. So it's not actually pulling exactly what it needs as it needs it. Which would be cool if we could do that, because then the animation could be like really cool looking. Or you could do, let's say, right, and then 1.1 off. And then, you know, if the buttons, the recipe spits all the buttons around on top of it, these things come down and weld it up. Once it's done welding, then this thing could shove them off onto this block. Yeah. For now, I'm going to keep it simple-ish. Right. Good enough, that's bright enough. Just fix that rotation real quick. Let's finish writing this stuff out. So, apply work. And let's have another method that's called work needed, or work can't accept work. Which will basically just say, does this thing have any activity to work? Is work needed? Is work needed? So that method's just going to take it and say, I have something I need done. Please apply work to me, basically. Yes or no. So it's going to be a bool. How did I do these other ones? Oh, I just say abstract. Okay, and then we'll have another one, other interface. I work provider. And this will be what the arms will do. Where did that create that? Inside iFace? Why is it not showing up? Refresh these. Okay. Seriously, where's this thing? Why is it not showing? There it is. Weird. Public abstract get work. It. Right? I don't know if we need that get work though. Because apply work is gonna do it. So the tile entity that is the arm is gonna say apply work and it's gonna pass it a parameter. That's what we need to do. Int amount. And it's gonna return another int for how much it worked on, how much it accepted. Amount in is the amount the provider can provide this tick. Amount return value is the amount left over that this consumer can not consume this tick and should remain in the provider. Debating if the provider's even needed at this point then. I don't think we need to. We'll make it a push, not a pull. Might have to come back to that, but we'll remove it for now. So let's make this new tile entity we just created. Implement this.
I'm back.
You know that name change bureau is just racking in the money.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but I've done it so many times now, they just let me do it for free. They figure I've put enough of their kids through college.
Oh, really? Okay. It's at least once or twice a night. On the weekends, it's like they're just like.
Yeah, it's just out of control on the weekends. I mean, I make it rain for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're just like, oh yeah, baby. Here comes fiery. Get out the money counting machine. Oh wait, or is it back? We don't know what it is today. I forget. Okay. I think this consumer needs to have a couple more functions, like how much it can consume. Public abstract void. Let me read int. Amount can consume. Because it needs to call it itself. let's go ahead and add that method. That moved my thing to the other tab. So we've got a lot of extra junk in here, which is what's kind of slowing me down a little bit. So let's see if we can clean this up. This isn't going to consume fuel at all on the assembly block. Now, whether or not the arms consume fuel, I'm not sure. It's definitely going to have an inventory. The size of the inventory, should it only be one slot? I'm thinking it should. That's the slot that holds the blueprint.
Yeah, it's not going to really need any other inventory, right?
I don't think so. Not in the...
Because it pulls from a chest next to it, right?
Right, like it'll just, on startup, eat all those things. That's why I kind of see it. So like, the blueprint's going to be in there, and as soon as it gets its first... Well, it won't go try and get any work from any of the arms until everything is in an adjacent inventory, and as soon as it's in an adjacent inventory, it basically gets consumed at that time.
Okay.
From the adjacent inventory.
Now, I might have a couple questions depending on how this first one goes.
Okay.
How are you planning to run this machine? Are you going to use fuel, or are you planning on putting in an energy requirement?
Right. So, the assembly table, I don't think needs anything. It's just a placeholder for your blueprint and a place for work to be applied.
Okay.
By the arms. The arms need some cost associated with them, I think. Be it fuel, like we got on everything else, which might be my first stopping point on this development effort, just to try and get it all working quick. But maybe we go and implement the Forge energy system.
I was thinking you should implement some kind of an energy system, and
right.
Forges is, if it's already in there, then you might as well use that one.
I don't know how to use it, but yeah, it's in there supposedly. Unless they took it back out since I read that message. So
now that brings me to question 2.
I think I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
What happens if it loses power in the middle of welding one of these vehicles?
So fuel and welding wire. That's what Eagle's saying. This welding wire is a good potential cost in addition to some type of power. So say your question again, Fiery. Sorry.
What happens if it loses? If the arm loses power in the middle of building it?
So talking this through, if we have this assembly table and this arm, let's get rid of this one, and we're building that. I don't know what that is, right? As it's being built, let's say that thing cost 100 work units, and the arm, I'm just throwing out numbers, these won't be the numbers. The arm could provide 1 work unit per tick, and it runs out of fuel after the first 10 ticks. This assembly table will have had 10 work applied to it, and that assembly table should save that it has 10 work applied to it, and it's just sitting there waiting for the other 90 work all the time. So when this thing runs out of fuel, it just stops applying work at that point.
You know the nightmare scenario I was thinking of.
What's that?
Somebody pays out their, we'll give it a basic 100 iron cost for that vehicle, and it loses power, and then all of a sudden, now it's gone. Now the iron's gone. They can't, it doesn't keep going.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying it should save that it's already applied. It should save that it's applied the inventory. Like the inventory cost has been consumed, and then it should also save that the work's been applied. And maybe it should be like a slot that consumes the blueprint. Because if you pulled the blueprint back out, that would really screw it all up, right? Because any of your items that are consumed in the inventory adjacent to it would be gone as well.
Yeah. See, that's one of the maybe you should make it so that once a blueprint is inserted and started, it cannot be pulled out until done. Just for that scenario, because that would be horrendously bad. And think of all the trolls that people would do.
Right. Or maybe it like you put the blueprint in and it puts it into a mode where it knows that it's building a continuous miner, and you don't need the blueprint in there anymore. It's just like a on the startup. That's how you select what it is. And even if you pull it back out, it's still trying to make a continuous miner.
I still wonder if you shouldn't make it that the blueprints are just blank blueprints and have a button system in there to select which vehicle, and you just pay the cost in material.
Cost and material. Okay, so like a list of all the machines in the mod, and the blueprints that you put in
automatically. Yeah, like the blueprints that you put in there are blank ones. Okay, you just need the blueprint itself to do it.
But then we can't control the tieringness of it, right? So if you put in a blueprint for a continuous miner, we can stop the player from being able to build a continuous miner on day one until we give them that blueprint. That's what I'm saying.
Unless you make multiple versions of those blank blueprints, like say, this blueprint can only make these vehicles, and this blueprint can only make these vehicles, and
what if the blueprint is just like knowledge learned and not actually consumed in the process? So it unlocks the button in the GUI.
That would work too. But then you could probably still use like a blank sheet of paper or something for a catalyst to get it going. I don't know. Yeah, that'd probably work.
I mean, the blueprint itself all of them could have the same item in the world. Like they could just be like a piece of paper, like you're saying, right? So,
and then you just get a random chance of unlocking any vehicle with it.
We could just texture that blue, right? And that'd be the blueprint. And then they could be different items still, but they could all have the same texture, is what I'm saying. If that's what you're trying to solve for. Oh, crap. So we just put the thing in there. Once it's in, like... so many ideas! Have a slot for each machine inside the assembly table. And the presence of that blueprint in that slot allows you to do that. And maybe it's the icon for the item, for the continuous miner, with the blue background behind it or something. Like we just take this texture and make it full size with the blue background to indicate that's the blueprint, and that goes into with the slot for the continuous miner.
Okay.
I don't know, Fiery.
Another thing I was thinking too is, what about making them have to research these things?
Right.
Like make a research table that they have to set up, and then kind of like the ancient warfare research thing. I know what you're talking about. I figured you would.
I've had the same thought, but what would it be that you'd have to spend for the research, or how would you do the research? Those type of things. That's
materials.
Yeah, okay, so let me go off on a tangent here. What we're doing is opening a can of worms. I'm starting to see that, right? So we're adding a series of items. They'll be very simple items to prevent having to add a whole bunch of items. We're also adding 2 new tile entities, right? So the assembly table and the arm here. But the arm needs power. So we need to get power to this arm somehow, which means we need to create some type of generator. And if I create a generator block that can go here, and we have another arm that goes over here, you know what the next thing somebody's going to want? They're going to want cables. So that they can power both of those arms off of one generator. So, I'm not complaining, not really. I'm just saying this is going to take me a while to do all of this. And we're already talking about now we need to create a research table. So the research table needs to have a whole new mechanic behind it too. It needs to like generate research points or something when it has the materials. And it's spinning out of control. I like where it's going though.
I'm just doing my job, man.
Yeah.
Just throwing ideas.
Like I said, I like where it's going. It's just like, oh my gosh, there's so much for me to do.
Hey, I did say we need a second programmer at this rate.
I know. I would just argue with him all the time though.
Yeah.
But how do you think there's more than one way to crack an egg? Or skin a cat, or whatever that saying is, crack an egg.
Both of them work. There is more than one way to crack an egg. There's thousands of ways to crack an egg.
Okay, so we need to start adding some variables. So we don't need anything with the fuel, so we can get rid of that. This is going to give me all sorts of errors. Yep, can't accept fuel, don't need that. It's not an iFuel container. This is the assembly template, right? Yeah. Don't add the fuel. Don't need to transfer the fuel. Fuel storage crap. Transferring fuel, nope. Output direction. Oh, that's from the fuel probably. Those. Okay, looks like everything else is pretty standard stuff. For inventories, which we do need. Wow, this song sounds like Stranger Things. It's tickable, it's eye-sided inventory, and it's a work consumer.
We never answered Eagle's question either.
Welding wire?
No. What happens if you break the work table?
Well, that's what we were talking about. We would need to save the... Oh, yeah. If we save it and you've already consumed all the items and the work you're going to lose. No doubt about that. There's no way for us to give that back. Unless we want to like make an explosion or something to represent the lost energy. The items, though... It could store a list of items it consumed and then spawn them in the world. If, you know, it's going to have to... Yeah, it's going to have to manage that inventory, isn't it? Sounds like the music in Space Mountain. We went to Disney, we didn't go on Space Mountain. Just in early December. Yeah.
It's like a crime against nature.
I don't know if we went to the park that has Space Mountain, though. I'll say that. We went on the... It's a Small World. Which
it's a small world after all.
Is easily the longest ride that we went on. And also the shortest line. Like we walked past it a couple times because the way Disney's laid out, they kind of have you go in circles if you want to get to the things that are short. Because they have like when we went to Disney the first time, you just like walked up to something. Oh, there's a 45-minute wait, or there's an hour wait, and you just dealt with it, right? Or went on to the next thing. They have an app now you can look at and see what the wait times are on all the different rides. So we were like constantly, oh, that one's only 5 minutes. It's on the other side of the park, though. Let's go over there. Anyway, we went past it, and it was always like a huge wait for that. And then late at night, it had like a 5-minute wait. And the 5 minutes was us walking through the stupid gate, and we basically just got right on the boat and went through it. And it's like a 15-minute ride, probably. Everything else that we waited for was like a 2-second ride, it seemed. So we gotta store a lot of stuff, guys. This is gonna take me some time to think through it all. So public int work needed. So that's going to be the amount of work needed for the current thing that it's trying to do, not per tick, but a total. Public int work consumed for this task. For this task. Total work. So, like, let's say this is an example. This one could be 1,000, and this one could be 100, meaning that we're at 10%, right? 10% complete. The inventory is the first slot's going to be the blueprint itself. So we're going to make another if statement in here. Total work needed for this task is equal to work consumed for this task. That's how much it's absorbed. Then we're going to do generate the output somehow. That right there might mandate that it needs a second slot. Right, because we got to output something somewhere. I'm very tempted to make a hopper to world tool. Or an inventory to world. So I could act like a hopper, pull from the bottom of a machine, and then it just spits it out into the world so the conveyors can carry it off. Total work needed, total work consumed. So then I guess we can start creating the method down here. The amount can consume, and then is work needed. So if total work needed for task is greater than how much we've already consumed, return true, else return false. Okay. Amount can consume is the total task minus that. There we go. Oops. So if we're at 1,000 and we've already consumed 100, it'll return 900. Okay, so if amount can consume is less than or equal to amount, no return, 0 return value. we can consume it all. Else, we're going to return amount can consume. So amount minus amount can consume, and return. And then we basically can say work consumed for this task equals amount minus amount can consume, and in here work consumed for this task equals the amount can consume. No, it equals amount minus amount consume. No, this is not right here, so it's amount. So let's say he gave us 50 and we can consume 10. So 50 minus 10 is 40. That would give us the remainder. So we want to know we can only consume 10, so that's how much we can do. Like that. And if we consume it all, we consume it all. Turn 0.
I'll be right back.
Okay. That should be all there is to that. And then, because I need a way of testing this, we'll come up here to our update method. There we go. So let's say 0 is our initialization value, 0 is initialization value for that, and then in here we're just going to override those for the time being. This total needed to say 1,000, right? And we're going to, in here, do a log helper, which is one of my math classes, info, and we're going to say total work reached.
Okay, my name change went through. I'm now Fierykiljoy.
You've come up with a new one. They'll never know who you are next time. We'll reset that. Fierykiljoy, huh? I had to.
Well, it was either that or the other guy, and you know, I just didn't think that one would go well.
The other guy. The other guy's back. Back for the hills. Okay, so we're going to, in our update, we need to check to see if the block that's in front of us, 3 blocks, is a consumer. So we'll get target location. We'll create a method called get target location. Public block position, get target location. So if I'm doing this right, I'm trying to make this coded in such a way that if I were to add another thing that needs work from these robot arms, we can do it, and do it fairly quickly. Okay, so the target position is going to be block position. New block position. This dot position. Okay, dot. Is there a facing position one? add, but there's no minimum offset. There we go. That's what I want. This dot facing position. No. Output direction. So I need to keep that on there. Keep me. Even if we remove the fuel interface. Oh, no worries. You watching this on your phone or something? Lock position, so get that facing output direction, and we want to go 3 blocks in that direction. So that should be this.
Well, what if they want to go 4 blocks or 4.5?
It's 3 blocks because that's the size of the amplifier. See? Arm extends 3 blocks. And when I, you know.
Haha! You have defeated my sarcasm.
The
student has finally outclassed the teacher.
But wasn't I the teacher? The sarcasm is strong with this one.
This is not the sarcasm you are looking for.
Your sarcasm is in another castle.
All your sarcasm belongs to us.
Oh. All of the gaming references in one night. Wow. Oh, okay. Cool. Don't use up all your data because of me. If it's like me, I've got... Oh, arrow 404, sarcasm not found. So, get target. I'm gonna create another method public. Get fuel consumer.
I may have to use that one Enderman at my next family gathering.
A work consumer. Yeah, it's gonna
The only problem is most of my family sold. They probably wouldn't even get that reference.
I think this is gonna work. I might be coding this horribly wrong. We'll find out. Return null if it's nothing. Otherwise, we're going to return. So we're going to take if bp.get world, not world, really? No, this dot world. This dot world dot get tile. The tile entity at the BP. So we need to return that back to something. So we're going to tile entity te equals that. If it's an instance of, if te instance of work consumer, I think that will work. If Eclipse doesn't give me an error, then we're going to return te. Add cast work consumer, sure. So then we can say get work consumer at get target location we'll say I work consumer WC equals that. Then we'll do a test if WC dot is not null. WC is not equal to null. WC dot get is work needed. WC dot apply work. I'm just gonna say 10. So if I've coded this correctly, and there's a very good chance I've coded everything absolutely horribly, it's not gonna work. If I've coded it correctly, we'll get a message after we wait a while saying that it's got to the 1,000, right? Or whatever that number was I put in the other block. So let's go ahead and close this out and run this just to make sure it resets everything, and those things are going to flip around because the one work consumer is not in the right position for that model, because the model was facing to the left on the screen, but it was actually facing the other way because it was wrong. So we'll just replace the things, I'm saying. Come on. Glad you're enjoying it, Enderman. Yep, that's a normal error message. Oh, isn't that cool? That's screwed with all my translations. That's gonna bother me. Let's fix that real quick. Render tile entity factory. We need to actually go down here to the render. So that means it's a negative here, here. I should do it. There we go. Phone's at 3%. I'm going to restaurant. I'll be back in 10. Where's your first stream? Okay. Alright, man. Yeah, I'll probably be around for at least another half hour. Unless something happens here at home. Okay, I'm not seeing any messages, so that's got me a little concerned.
You're concerned that you didn't screw it up?
Oh, I'm concerned because I did screw it up. And I see what you did there, Fire.
What did I do?
Your word choice. You know what you did. Okay, so it is applying the work. Let's step into this then. So what is our current... It's only 10. Amount can consume might be messed up then. So let's go into there. Needed for this task is 1,000. Minus the 10, it should return what? 990 or something like that. Yeah, 990. Let's keep stepping into things. Okay, amount oh, there it is. Forgot to add to it instead of just setting it to that. We were just setting it to that 10 instead of adding another 10. That will definitely do what we're experiencing. There we go. Got a message. Total work reached. Total work reached. It can do a thing. Obviously, the amounts are way off from what it needs to be. We can slow it down and speed it up with just changing the 10 and the 1,000 type thing. Cool. So that makes me realize that in my blueprint, I need another setting. And that setting needs to be how much work it will take for this blueprint to be complete. So let's go into my blueprint items. They're here. So the main blueprint is, and we'll have another one called public. Int work required. There we go. Yeah, I guess terminate, fine. So then when we get the item in the inventory inside the blueprint, or inside the assembly table, the blueprint inside the assembly table can ask the blueprint, how much work do you need, please? And then say, that's my total work needed. So when we create this blueprint here, we need to force this to have a value as well. When we create this, where do we create this at? Call hierarchy. We call it over here. So we're not actually doing it there. I guess let's just do it here. This dot. This dot work required equals 1,000. We just had set, but we're setting it in the blueprint now, so when we put the blueprint in the machine, it should work. I think, let's go ahead and fire off my crafting kit while this loads up. I think I set it correctly. So that's actually an item in the game now. It just doesn't have an image or an image or anything, right? So we can maybe build a GUI out for this soon. And then from that GUI, let's see, the GUI's not actually coded there. It's coded on the block. From that GUI, we can pop the item in, add that code to the tile entity, so it checks what the blueprint's requirement is, etc. We'll slowly get there. Hey, everyone.
Howdy.
Let's see. I wonder how much it'll impact your video editing stuff. I've seen your message there. Because do you use like GPU for that though?
You do, but especially in like a lot of real-time render stuff, when you're working with the just looking at your playback screen, it usually is pretty impacted by CPU.
Gotcha.
So I'm wondering how. I'm sure my renders will be fine. It'll be the actual like hands-on working.
Gotcha. So it doesn't use the Mercury playback engine? At least that's what it used to be called in the version I had.
I think mine uses the CUDA because of the fact that it's a 10 series card, but
right, but their Mercury playback engine I thought uses CUDA
maybe
and
it is.
whatever AMD does.
I can't remember. I know I have the thing. I have it checked in whatever the processes are. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't know, because I know that a lot of times CPU will, depending on how high, like if you're looking at 4K stuff, that's when you'll start to see it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because
most of the time 1080 doesn't really have an impact, but 4K does. So that's kind of the direction we've been moving in.
And one of the articles I was reading said that that bug is going to be fixed yet this week for Windows. They're taking it out of the normal update stream.
Oh, okay, so it would be fixed before.
What I was reading was it was going to be fixed at 5 o'clock today. They were going to push the update out. Yeah.
The one I read said they're thinking probably Tuesday, but if they're taking it out of the stream, that makes sense.
Yeah. It seemed like, given the nature of what it can do and how fast now that it's public to this level,
right?
Somebody's going to have a virus for this by the weekend.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Because everyone came out and said, "Hey, there's a problem here."
Right,
Oh,
right.
really?
Let's get attention to this.
It's funny. Intel's even saying, "In the meantime, you should use any sort of defense you have for your computer. Use it. make sure you have your virus protection up because bad things could happen."
Right, and it sounded like it wasn't a vulnerability that would let code run on your computer necessarily.
Right.
Like, you'd have to run something anyway.
Exactly. So it basically sounds like it's primarily they'll have the ability to look at data on your computer.
Right. It didn't say they couldn't read. They could read memory, but they couldn't write memory that they're not supposed to. Which means they can't change the code of another program while it's running, which is good.
Right.
But they can get your password, which is stored in the kernel, and then they can do whatever the frick they want with that, right?
Yep.
Once they have that, they can elevate their own security and everything.
Bank account numbers.
Anything that's in memory. Yep.
All the computers are screwed.
No,
It actually
just
one of the-
anything not running AMD.
One of the analysts I saw said though, he's like, it's not that this isn't a big deal, but it's not as big of a deal as everyone's making it out to be.
Right,
Like,
and the
it'll be
media is always
patched
are
and
like,
it'll be-
oh no,
yeah.
well, it's ending.
I'm more concerned about the CEOs getting rid of millions of dollars worth of stock right before the end of the new year, and then
They'll get away with whatever.
and then Intel like trying to bring down AMD and all others just because they have a breach.
But you don't know how much of it actually is reality, though. You don't know how much of them saying, "Hey, we're working with Intel on a fix," and or AMD on a fix, and AMD's like, "Oh no, we're not doing anything wrong," because AMD's obviously benefiting right now. And as a CEO, whenever your stock's going up, you're not going to come out and say, "Oh yeah, we do have a problem too. We are working on it." It's like, let's ride this. Let's let this.
Yep.
They're all a bunch of liars.
The second article I seen today about this whole thing was that AMD's got a huge boost today out of it.
Oh yeah, they got a huge boost, and there's a couple analysts saying, yeah, AMD's going to be just as affected. It might not be the same paths, but it's a kernel issue. It's more going to be on an OS side, that the way the OS interacts with a card in general.
I am kind of bummed though because just this morning I got set up on our supercomputer. So I just this morning got access to a 27 core like ridiculous RAM cluster. Like it's a cluster of nodes, and each node has a 27 core Intel CPU of some type and so much RAM that it's not even a question. And now we're gonna get hit by this, and it runs on Linux.
Oh yeah.
So
all the ADCs. Good night.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just you. It's just two of us. Just the two of us. Rerolled Jingwei. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see.
It's hilarious that when Neith comes out in this pirate skin, she just goes, "I'm a pirate." Like we hadn't figured that out.
Arr. I like that the monkey has a bandana.
So let's go add that GUI.
You're not playable yet.
Is it playable?
It's always been playable.
Yeah, we've had a server set up for it for.
Is it pretty unplayable? Playable, I guess, is the real question.
Prettier.
Is it prayable?
Is it prayable? That's the horribly racist Asian version.
Man.
That's not what I was saying.
Yeah, Czarified's a little louder than everybody else. Not much. Turn him down some. It's probably the Aragorn's quiet. That's probably what's wrong.
I am quiet.
Yeah, Aragorn's very quiet all the time. I have him up to like 160% or something, so...
I have my mic set at like 50%, so that way you don't hear my children. So I figure you guys can adapt and feel.
Yeah, you can turn yourself down 50%, we can turn you up 50%.
And then when they do come on, we're all screwed.
Yeah.
When they get very close to the mic and they're like, "Daddy, what is this?" Then, yeah, we're screwed.
It happens.
That was a good child impression.
See, I don't know how old his children are. So I didn't. So I didn't know how to impersonate them.
And they're all girls, so.
Yeah, so I went kind of high, kind of slow, you know. I thought I did a pretty good job, so thanks.
I was actually, for a second there, I thought you might have been one of my daughters, so.
Oh, wow.
Where it worked out was really
Wow.
fun.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
I thought CZ sounded pretty girl-like. I mean,
But what did you think when I was making the impression?
Oh, burn for yourself.
Self-burn!
Need
Oh.
psychiatric help. And that's not gonna be a thing, is it? There's no fermented mash in this.
What's up with that fire dog?
It's a new character in the game.
It's not a new one, but it's a skin.
It's a skin on one of the old players of the game.
nah, it's the liquor he's drinking right now.
Ouchies.
Fire dog liquor. That sounds like it could be a name for liquor.
Ouch, I forgot what her abilities do.
Well, that'd be why. My balance was set crazy high on the game. I couldn't understand why I couldn't hear you guys.
So is the plan still the same for that tier 2 stuff? Is it still the continuous mining machine? Is the top tier 1?
Yep.
And that top tier one's going to be built in an assembly table with a special robotic arm that applies work to the assembly table. We're probably going to have to add some type of power generation to the mod to do the assembly robot arms, blah blah blah. Lots of coding for tech, basically. We can just get rid of all this. It's not a distiller anyway.
At least our team's really good at feeding.
That's always
I
good.
hate Janus.
It's a good skill to have.
Janus.
Okay, GUI handler.
Uh-oh.
Let's get that air. GUI handler.
So aggressive.
Yo. Somebody made them angry. Angry in a past life.
Turn Aragorn up and he gets even quieter.
I keep talking softer.
Yeah, you do.
Just barely use my voice.
Shh. I hear dead people.
You're dead people?
No, he's predicting the smite outcome.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair assessment. Hmm.
Assembly table.
What? Someone used that relic that lets us get out of there. We all stood in there. until it
Yeah, I was a ghost. I didn't realize what was going on.
Man, if I could aim, I might actually do well.
How'd that work? Just to make sure. server to handler. Client handler.
He really wants you. Ow!
That's it.
No, no, no.
Let's see if we get a GUI.
Dadgummit.
You're so aggressive.
They're so aggressive.
No, don't. Oh gosh.
We need
Leaving.
attack speed.
Leaving. I'm going over here. No, go away. No, don't touch me. Bad touch. I remember them saying they were going to update the popular tabs so they work better, but I don't really feel like they did.
Only one inventory slot, perfect.
We need wards. Why didn't that hurt him?
Okay, so now
Whew. Jeepers, leave me alone.
save. AG, save. Okay.
Watch out, because Athena's super aggressive.
Bye. Bye. I got too close.
Goodbye.
Got way too close to the aggressive streak.
I just noticed there's a Nemesis mirror match.
Okay, I know what it is.
It's a mirror match?
Isn't it a Nemesis?
No, I don't think so.
It's me under the
They've got Scotty.
Oh, Scotty. Okay.
This is an apocalyptic event. There are no mirror matches.
front row. Oh well.
I don't know how to handle that.
Oh man, I left without a relic.
I almost did. I was like right on the edge. I'm like, oh, better buy that. What? Why did a bunch of minions just fall from the sky? Oh, Janice, that's why. Wow, that one move just wiped me.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why my stun doesn't work on him. I've hit him with it 3 times and it hasn't done anything to him. Oh shoot. Ran out of space.
Cool.
Oh, come on.
That Odin shreds.
So let's get the distiller. assembly table.
I can't do anything.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
At least they're only-
What did that Odin build?
It's just early game Odin.
It's just Jotuns.
Yep. Early game Odin's hurts. His power scale is really heavy on the
So different than I remember him being.
That's why he was so good in. He was so good in Joust.
Container.
Get him. Get her.
Yep, detected some changes under distiller. What's this?
Why can't I hit him? Your turn. Oh, dodge. Thank you. It's so hard to hit them.
And then
She had like ridiculous boots. What did she have? Oh, she doesn't have boots.
Here's the dumb thing. She kept us busy enough that now the tower's guarded.
that's not right, but it's 0-based index. Distiller. It is.
Nice.
0, 1. These two variables.
Come here, Agni.
About to get taunted because she has ridiculous movement speed.
Oh no. No. No.
I don't know how she has that movement speed, but
Let's see. It's a good question because she doesn't
she's
have
moving really fast. Yeah.
She has boots. That's it. Is there a buff when you use her one charge up?
No, I don't think so.
There we go.
She's just really fast.
Well, that happened.
Probably the fastest assault match I've ever played.
I've done worse. But that was painful. Reading your explanations of people in your chat is funny.
Huh?
You have these old explanations of who people are in your YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You've got people like Fall, more relaxed than I used to be, and can't say squirrel or scroll.
Yeah, that was his thing that he wanted it to say. I'd asked him.
Really?
Yeah.
Alga's president of the Troll Society. That makes sense. CZ is the guy doing that one other thing.
He still is. He's playing Smite with
Yeah.
you.
Airbrat, the forestry department.
The winning
I'm
team
still
is
trying-
saltier than us.
I'm still trying to scratch my head and figure out how the heck I got top bidding over the guy whose channel it even is.
Because you're the idea guy. Work super this task. Total work. And work for this task.
I think the only time I've really played with your mod was that time we did that one big pack where we used curse.
Yeah. We had like a kitchen sink pack type thing going on.
Yeah. But I don't think that was officially the kitchen sink pack. I think that was pre-kitchen sink pack.
Probably. It did have a lot of stuff though.
Yeah. Remember we had those dungeon-y things that we walked around in?
Yep.
Built on top of the big plateau. Alchao actually finished a building. What? So I built basically the same type of building but bigger.
Tech wasn't living in a cave.
No, I was living on a slime island. I remember that one. That's plus of.
They're still arguing about their win. They're still arguing with each other about their win.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
Man, I don't really want her, but she's actually okay. Doing it. Doing it! Oh, lame.
That's unfortunate.
Hey, I have that weird skin.
That is a weird skin.
Modern Mercy.
Any spears thing? Oh no, that's a Kill Bill, isn't it?
Yeah, Kill Bill. I got the Executioner too.
You and those demonic skins. Every single god has a demonic or Norse skin.
And somehow I have them all. I don't know where they came
Yeah,
from.
you have like all the death metal skins.
All my Smite gods could be in a death metal band. I used to like Nemesis. It's been a long time. I remember the first time we played against a Diamond God, it was a Nemesis and Airbrat.
Oh, I have on her at Legendary? I didn't know that.
There we go. It's working. No, there's a bug in
Wait,
it.
what are you doing? Started world.
Do what?
I was just reading whatever window you had up.
Oh.
I'm surprised that you have a light themed eclipse.
Oh.
I figured you would be a night mode guy.
I am.
I didn't know there was such a thing. Maybe there is.
I'm assuming that there is. I don't have any IDEs. I just have like Notepad++. But whenever I use Notepad++, it's in a dark theme.
Huh. I'm gonna have to look at that because I never thought of it before. There probably is something. Appearance. Oh.
Look up like Oblivion color scheme or something. There's people that make custom syntax formatting to match a theme in Notepad++, so it get everything highlighted correctly when it's like a dark theme. It looks really nice. For Java, it's probably already baked in.
Well, I found a setting that looks like it might be it. I hit apply. We'll see what happens here. If this crashes, I blame you.
There's a couple good dark themes on Notepad++.
You see that salt emote?
Yeah, I liked that.
Oh, it's... Aww.
That's pretty good.
It looks good, but it looks like crap with the color of the scroll
white
bars.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be amazing if it was like that all the time. That's how I have my Unity set up. Huh.
Oh,
It's like,
Made a horrible error.
So in Unity, you use a dark theme. Blender is like automatically a dark theme.
okay, I'm back. Unfortunately, that's going to bother me more. Being hideous. Eclipse, dark, theme, scroll bar.
Ouch.
There's a theme that also changes the color of the scroll bar from the marketplace. It's called the Darkest Dark theme. Yay! Huh. Oh, it changes all the icons too. Didn't notice that. Theme switching takes forever apparently in this. Okay, come on, Clips. Can't do anything right now. Thanks, TC.
No.
You're very welcome.
There we go. So, for those that don't know, there's an Eclipse marketplace. And I want to get this theme. Wow, Eclipse, come on.
It works so quickly. Raw's out of mana. There we go.
I've been out of mana this whole game.
I can't seem to do anything.
Oh, right. I did see your message last night, Eagle, by the way.
Ran into that.
Except for the direction of those, like if we could set those speeds to 0 for those ones. What's the red dust even doing? I mean, that's that one.
Gosh, Chemizone's ult is up like every 2 seconds.
I know.
Oh, you set it to white. Oh, okay.
I'm really bad at this game, that's what the problem is.
Ghost didn't have any motion to be better, or if it was randomized.
I'm a bit of a tanky person. Don't want to do. was 3 degrees when I drove to work this morning.
Oh, nice and warm.
Yeah, it's like Wisconsin summer.
Yeah.
Wisconsin summer.
Not far from it, man.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, we're lucky if our lakes even get up to like 45 degrees.
It's freaky. It's like the top thing in the marketplace almost.
No, get away from me. What the heck, man? Every 5 seconds that dude's ult's up.
Jeez.
Oops. Okay, it's opening a new window. Really? Drag to your Eclipse Marketplace workspace. Not compatible with this version of Eclipse.
How
Crap!
was he ulting again?
His ult's up every 3 seconds.
It's got an old
like a-
version.
Odin ult is what it's like. Oh, no. No, no, no. Don't touch me.
Got an oxygen. That's Mars.
Poseidon saved me and then immediately died.
Is that oxygen?
Owie.
Luna. Find me that way.
That ult is so irritating.
I've got oxygen installed somewhere, but still more. Anywho, back to the task at hand here. This GUI needs a lot of work to make it cleaner and the way I want it to look.
Way private messaged me just to say Garbo Onhor.
What'd she say?
Garbo Onhor. That's all she
Yeah.
said. Just to tell me how bad I'm playing.
Okay.
Welcome to Smite.
I'm fine with that. Take your time.
Welcome
Yeah,
to online
whatevs.
gaming.
Smite in particular, extra trolly.
Huh, I can debate that one. Try putting up with some of the people in World of Tanks.
I knew you were getting good
Like-
tanks.
Like I said, you didn't play Smite very long then, did you? Because pretty sure that they're like the standard of ultimate toxicity, except for maybe Rust.
Oh, I don't know about that one, cause they'll kill you even if they're on your own team.
I'm sure they would in this game too if you could.
Yeah.
They just kill you with words. Oh,
Dang
I
it.
didn't buy any freaking pots. I'm gonna die. Well, I was gonna die either way, but
That's 2 really good assault teams that we played in a row.
well, our team comps are just not great.
This isn't a bad team comp, but they have hell. So
They have a healer. We don't have a well, we do. We have Raw. It feels like we don't have a healer. We don't have anyone really very tanky either. What did I built the wrong freaking item. You should...
above, please. There we go.
Watch out for Camiso's ult.
Oh gosh darn it.
Merge.
Who's their tankiest target?
Probably
Hell,
Hell.
maybe? I can start using my ult on her, but I'm not. It's kind of pointless if nobody's ready. Let's do it. There we go. That wasn't Hell though. I just saw a floaty chick and I killed her. How was he ulting again? And they're all healed because I killed the wrong person. Text her back, say Garbo Jingwei. Do it, you won't.
That's exactly what she wants.
That's what I want.
So stream, I'm just playing with different layouts to see what would work best, I think. I haven't come up with any conclusion as to what will work best, though. Thinking this would be the blueprint slot.
He's a dot? Jeez.
Yeah, I think I need to learn how to do the rest of the GUI stuff inside here so I can get a scroll bar and all that. The list of ingredients, the output item, everything basically.
What was that 1500 about his ping?
So I think because I need to just basically browse the internet for a while to learn this stuff, I'm going to go ahead and call the stream right now. So good night, everybody.
Good night,
Hey,
everybody.
everyone.
Good night, Tech.